Hey everyone, welcome to the stream and welcome to another episode of Karthik Builds. Uh, I've got a new stream set up today, so I'm going to be spending the first few minutes just testing out the new setup. If you're around and on the chat joining me today, just let me know in the chat, say hi in the chat. That way I get to know that you are here. And yeah, so I've done a couple of things for my stream today. So there are a couple of changes in here, and we'll pretty much I'll just explain to you what we did in my stream setup, um, so that you get to know what I've been doing today. Hey Dipanshu, yes, a bit early today. I think the last time as well I started around 8:30 p.m. Indian Standard Time. So that is the kind of time that I'm looking for, so that I cover it. I wrap up the stream by 10 o'clock, um, and we get some time to just relax before I hit the bed. So this is kind of like the time that I'm looking to work with, and I hope this works out for everyone. I haven't updated my stream description yet, but yes, this is what I'll be doing. Harsh is here as well. Hey Harsh, how are you? Been a while since I saw you in the chat. But yes, welcome to the stream, everyone. And today, I've got a couple of things to show you as well. I have been trying a new stream setup, like I mentioned. So I'll explain to you what I did new with our stream setup. So I'll just explain to you what we had before and what has changed now, right? So one of the things that I kind of noticed is I didn't have enough light, and the way my house is set up, it's unfortunately this is a rented house, so I cannot make a lot of modifications here. But there isn't much light outlet in here, right? So I really wanted to have a powerful light, but even using a powerful light did not get me a good light setup. So what has happened is now I have a face light right here, which is actually shining on my face. I just want you to let me know if this is the appropriate amount of lighting that you folks are seeing. Is the light good to you? I hope. I do see a bit of what I can say, shininess on my head. But I think this light is perfectly fine. This isn't disturbing me that much, but this is a face light that I just have at this point. So I'll show you, but just wanted to get your thoughts on whether this light is too distracting to you and whether you are able to see me properly. And the reason why I wanted to get this light is I sometimes make videos for a YouTube channel and for the Amazon Alexa channel, and I just want these videos to be of high quality and have my face show up well, and not like have a half face where half of it is well lit because of the light here and half of this is dark, right? So that's the reason why I just used it. So just let me know what you think about the lights. I really am looking forward to your feedback. If I get too close to the laptop, I kind of feel that there's a bit of a light on my face, but it does seem like it might be a little bright. So let me actually try something else here. I do have a brightness indicator here, so I'm just kind of testing that a bit to see how that might look like. So yeah, I think it's still not to that level of what we want. Um, I think this should be slightly better, um, but Yeah, I think it's still not at that place where I would say it is. It has to be. Yeah, this is the least brightness that I can have on the white mode. But point taken, Auxin box. I'll work on that. Yeah, this is somewhat better though. I do have like a. Let me actually try the yellow mode on this face light, and I'll show you what's happening on this face light bit in a bit. But let me just try the least brightness for yellow mode. This is yellow, but I still see yellow has like a shiny forehead effect on me. So I'm just going to go back to white with a slight setup like this. So yeah, this is somewhat better. I will work on the brightness part at some point, but this is slightly better. The next thing was I had to get a couple of devices. So I had an EcoSpot, but I know that a lot of people don't have an EcoSpot and they are a bit outdated in the sense that I don't think we sell them anymore. But we do have some EcoShow 5 that a lot of people have, and this would be helpful in terms of say if we kind of come across building an APL skill, right? So I'll need a device for that. So I kind of went to the office the other day and got the recording equipments. So I got a device, but what I also got was a high quality camera. Right now, the camera that I'm speaking through is on my MacBook Pro laptop, which is like a simple, decent camera, doesn't have like a huge resolution or something. So I've got a Logitech HD 1080p camera, and I don't remember the exact one, but this is like a very famous camera, and I'll show it to you in a while. But basically what I've done is I've set up a device cam, and the device cam looks like this. So you can now see my device, an EcoShow 5 that is here. Let me know if you are able to see this device, and let me know if this is good as well. But yes, that is one setup that I have made to make sure that the device is working fine. Now let me show you what is the camera setup that I have. So this is the entire setup. So I hope you folks are able to see this entire setup. That is me, right? And here's the face light. If you can see the face light, you can see it on the device camera. This is my mic, this is a keyboard, and this is the mouse and all those stuff. And hopefully I can show you on this camera, that is on the device camera, on the laptop camera, you'd be able to see this. This wire is actually not. So this is the Logitech camera that I was speaking about, and it's supported by a small tripod. So yeah, we just upped our game, folks. I just went ahead and got some of these cool stuff so that we can have a very good stream, and hopefully get some more quality content coming up. Let me know what you think of this setup. But yes, that is all the setup that I have done so far, and I hope all of you like it. Right, I'm just going to remove the device cam at this moment because when we do coding, we'll kind of need this extra space where the terminal will be showing up. But at some point, I'll bring that device cam as well. Now, one of the other exciting things that has also happened is I figured out how to get an NDI source, and let me show you what I mean by that. I basically tried to figure out how I can capture Skype calls on this thing, right? So out here in Skype, there is a technology called as NDI, and I think it's in calling option. Not sure where it is. Advanced. Yeah, there's an NDI usage, which is what I've been enabled, and I found out that if you install the NDI plugin for OBS, you can install. It also gets installed for Streamlabs. So now I don't need to use OBS. I could do all of this on Streamlabs. And this is important because I had some plans to call on Indian content creators, Alexa skill creators, and have them Skype call me and cover what they have built so far. So that is one of the ideas that has been going on in my mind. And yes, that is something that we plan to do. And yeah, so now that I figured that out, pretty much I'm going to start that series. I've not yet figured out when I'm going to do that, but pretty much we are going to have a series where I'll talk to other skill developers like you folks who join the stream and hear from them about how they built a skill. So that is something that we'll be doing. And yes, feel free to say hi in the chat if you are around. I've just set up a lot of things, and yeah, so far we've been talking about the stream setup. That's what I kind of put up so far. Hey Synchro Photo, hi. I've been meaning to. I was just thinking about reaching out to you today on the chime, but yes, thanks for joining the stream. A couple of days have been a bit busy to me, but I do mean to reach out to you. But glad to have you here. And since the last time we had a couple of folks join our stream, so we have 95 Rohit who is joining us, who joined our stream, and then we have Rutvi 10 who's joined us, and last but not the least, a good friend of mine, Manish Kungwani. I'm not sure if the alerts are a bit delayed, but I have a friend Manish, brilliant chap. He's also followed me. So welcome to the stream, everyone. We are, I think, at 97 followers or something. Really appreciate all of you following me here on what I'm doing. Always glad to do that. Now that's enough talk. I think we've been speaking about the past 5-10 minutes. Let's get right into what we were doing so far. Okay, so let's see. So I always start these sessions by starting out with where we have gone so far, what we have done so far. So I'm going to open the skill and open the developer console as well. Let's open this up. So the game mechanics are coming along pretty good at this point. And I think we will get to the point where the skill is decently developed. I kind of want to have a deadline where I kind of aim at least getting the basic skill out, and that deadline is 2 weeks from now. So that means this entire week and the end of next week. That is Friday of the next week is when I want to be able to submit a partially built skill to certification. So that is something that I have in mind. Let's see if we can get to that point. Okay, so now let's open up the developer console, open up skills. Delete. Now let's come back here, do an ultimate dialog. So let's just see how this experience works. At this point, we've got a pretty good experience so far. So the last time what we did was we were able to get the question back from the user, and we were able to put on the next question to the user. But there was no limit as to how many questions were to be asked. So I think that's one thing that we will, keep on continuing. So let's try this out. Let me show you the experience. Let's unmute the site.
Welcome to the Ultimate Dialogue Quiz. In this game, I will play an audio clip of a dialogue from a movie.
Actually, you know what? Let's just do this the fancy way. Let's try this out with the device and let's see how that works. Let's try this out anyways, right? Echo, open the dialogue quiz.
I found a few conscious for that.
Echo.
Did you mean dial?
Stop.
All right.
Echo. Open the dialogue quiz.
You've shown a movie dialogue enabled. Do you want to open it?
Nope. Stop. I think I think I should not have tested this. I think it's connected to the wrong account. It's connected to my office account, whereas because this skill is in the development phase, it's in a different account. So I'm just going to go back to us using the simulator, but I do need to set that up to the right account. So we'll open the dialog quiz.
Welcome back, user.
Oh God, you know what? I need to delete the user. Just wanted to show you the experience. Let's open the dialog quiz.
Welcome to the Ultimate Dialogue Quiz. In this game, I will play an audio.
So I'm just going to skip through this just to show you the experience.
Wahoo! That was easy. What?
Right, so now at this point, what we are going to do is, so you can now see the user has been paired for question number 1, 3, 4, 5, and 6, and their opponents have scored these many points. I found someone to play with you. The player is Karthik. Here's your first audio clip, and then they play the audio, and then it asks, can you guess who this is? I have to say Brad Pitt from Fight Club, right? So let me just say Brad Pitt from Fight Club. Right, so now what we did in the last session was it said correct answer, you get 10 points. Your opponent had scored 5 points, right? And then what it does is it says here's your first audio clip. So we want to kind of change this to here's your second audio clip, here's your third audio clip, here's your fourth audio clip, right? So that is one thing that we need to do. Then we need to remove the spaces so that it, you know, the speech sounds natural. That is the second thing to do. And then so now you can see that the correct actor has changed to Tom Hanks from Forrest Gump. So we just need to make sure that is something that we are handling properly. But let's try again Brad Pitt from Fight Club. But at this point what it should do is it should say wrong answer. Here's the next question, right? And you see that what's happening is it says you answered none of them correct, you get 0 points. So it's basically coming into this part of our code where we just said you answered none of them correct, you get 0 points. So we need to build the continuation logic in here as well and call the get next question option, right? So 3 things to do. Let's hope we can do that in this. So the very first thing to do is I found someone to play with you. Let's take this and give the appropriate spaces in here. So this is fetch opponent, right? Found player. So let's open the found player option. So what's going to happen is fetch opponent. Here's your first audio clip. So what's going to happen is the player is, I've found someone to play with you. The player is Karthik. I think we could change this text looks awfully long, so I can say your opponent is Karthik from, right? So something like this. So let's do this, right? So what we are going to do here is, here is your first audio clip. Yeah, we'll just say your opponent is Karthik, right? And let's actually come back here to language strings, and we had found player, right? So the found players goes like this. I found someone to play with you. So we'll just have the audio clip here, right? We are not going to do anything else. Okay, so that is what's going to happen. The found player will do that, and your opponent is with a space Karthik. I kind of want a space in here, but I'll just add it here rather than adding it here. So here's your first audio clip, and then remove this full stop because we have this awkward full stop in here, and then you don't want this to kind of do this. So just remove this awkward full stop in there, and then say, can you guess who this is, right? So this is sorted out. As usual, folks, if you are not sure about what we are doing here, feel free to ask in the chat. I'll help out. Now, what is the thing that we were planning to do next? So the thing that we were planning to do next is say something like, here's your first audio clip, here's your second audio clip, here's your third audio clip, right? And the way to do that is go back to our function, and this is coming in from the get next question function, right? So here what we are planning to do is this one. Here's your first audio clip. So actually let's remove all our console.logs. We had a very difficult thing last time where we were in the last stream. If you had joined the last stream, you would have seen that we spent almost 30 minutes because we had a variable name wrong. And that is the kind of thing that happens when you're programming. You just have a variable name wrong and you don't notice that at all. And you just spend half an hour. That's what programming is all about. But anyways, so here's your first audio clip. Let's change this to so there are two things that we could do. We could keep on saying that here's your next question, or what we could do is we could say here's your second question, here's your third question, here's your fourth question. So do we use second question or do we use next question? The difference between both of these is when I say next question, there's no way for the user to know how many questions are remaining, right? I mean, we do say at the starting that there's 5 questions, but sometimes users may not remember that. So in that case, next doesn't sound that feasible. But if we said here's your first question, here's your second question, they kind of have something to look forward to. And that's just something that I want to kind of inculcate, where the user knows that there is an end coming, and it almost feels like, and this is imagine any quiz show that you have been part of or you watch quiz shows, right? When you know that there is a question that is ending up, like there are going to be a limited number of questions, you kind of, your performance starts to, your focus starts to be, you start to be more focused rather, right? So that's so what I think we'll do here is start putting in the number. Now we are capturing that in the progress, right? So this we are capturing that in the progress. So the question to be asked is session attributes.progress plus 1. So let's see how we can get one words like first, second, third. What, first of all, what are they called? First, second, third. Are they called? I think there's a word for them, isn't? It's ordinal, right? So yeah. So it's called ordinal. So get ordinal equivalent of number in Node.js. So if I pass 1, I get first. If I get pass 2, I get second. Okay. There seems to be something called as numeral.js. What does numeral do? Wow, it looks like there's a library for everything in JS, but I'm not too sure about using numeral because this doesn't look like an HTTPS site, so I'm just not, that doesn't create a lot of confidence. But they have a GitHub wrapper, GitHub site. Yeah, and this looks like a very old library, so I'm not going to be kind of going into that. Let's see. I agree, Oxygen Box. If it is the final question, we should say that, hey, this is the final question, so give this your best shot. Definitely, we'll do that as well. So get ordinal equivalent of number in Node.js. Okay, get ordinal number in Node.js. Okay. And okay, to a number. I'd like to dynamically generate a string of text based on a current day. So for example, if it is day 1, right? So this is the person wanting to do that in JavaScript. Wow, are you telling me there's no way to do that? And no, I don't think this is what I want. This is not the output that I want. I somehow hoped, I don't know, I can still make an array. Oh yes, Harsh Mangukia, I think that's a really good observation. Somehow I forgot about that, but you can directly do that with SSML, right? Yeah, Oxygen Box pointed that out as well. I totally forgot that SSML has an ordinal tag, so I think we could just go ahead and use that. Synchro Photo says, does that mean you are not giving your best shot to the previous question? Well, not really, but when you kind of look at this is like the last question. And maybe if it might be a tiebreaker, so just kind of creating that suspense, not a suspense per se, but when it's the last question, the quizmaster always says that extra effect, they add some words for extra efforts, right? Effects. So I think that's what we are aiming for here. But yes, speaking of SSML, let's go to SSML ordinal tag. I forgot that. And you know, I really forgot this, but SSML has an ordinal tag, right? So what we are going to do is interpret the number as ordinal, right? So what we will do here is, let's just copy this. Yeah, kind of. Now that you say that, it's not like we want to keep putting a pressure on them. Although it might look like that, but maybe we might mellow down the tone to make sure that they are aware that this is their last question, and after this the game ends. Kind of just to highlight that, okay, this is the last question and you don't have to do this anymore. So yeah, let's see if that works. Now interpret as cardinal. So we need to interpret this as ordinal, and Harsh says that he did it in his skill as well. Yeah, I agree. This is something that is really helpful, so we don't have to write any of these things. So it does say, here's your first question, second question, third question, first audio clip, second audio clip. Let's remove this. So this will say, can you guess who this is? Now there's the next thing that we need to do is, if there's a wrong answer, what we plan to do is still continue asking the next question, right? So what we'll need to do here is, let's come in here and say get next question. So the next question is going to get you the next question, and go ahead. So let's do that. Now let's try this out. I think we've made some decent changes to the code. So let's just try this out. Actions delete. And usually when I'm testing this, folks, I kind of, I do a couple of things. I test it out on the device most of the times, and sometimes I test it out on the simulator. But most of the times I just mute all of this, and and just to pass through testing faster, what I do is put all of the code's logic sometimes in the launch request. So I just say open dialog quiz and it directly enters the logic that I want to. But in this case, I'm not doing that because I almost want to kind of keep going through that experience again and again to make sure that we are having the best experience for the user. So that's the way how I keep thinking about it. I know this is the wronger way to test, but I'm doing it so that I keep looking at the experience every now and then. Okay, let's open the dialog quiz. And this time, let's see what happens. Okay, and after this, we'll get to the scoring part of this. Oh wow, today is our lucky day. The launch request failed. And wait a minute, why did the launch request fail? We didn't do anything wrong, or did we? Well, that is really weird. Let's go check this out. Monitoring, view logs in the CloudWatch. T is not defined. Okay. Index.js 295. What did we do wrong this time? 295. Oh, okay. Looks like a rogue character in here. I think there might be a linter or something to tell me all these kind of things for Node.js, right? And this should be there for VS Code, so I'm not sure, but I think I need to look into that so that these kind of things get caught as an error message and nothing gets deployed. Maybe there should be a linter for this, but yeah. Do we have the user? Nope, we don't have the user, so let's try this again. Exit, open the dialog quiz. Start the audio, go on, give Marlon Brando from Godfather. We are still working with the new user, right? The happy path. So the answer is Brad Pitt from Fight Club. So this is going to be the first answer. So let's see. Oh, in fact, yeah, I think this works. Let's unmute
Audio
this.
clip.
I'm gonna make it an offer again with you.
So that
Can
is,
you guess who this is?
so those dots have gone away. So the speech is more natural at this point. That's what we wanted. Good thing. Let's do Brad Pitt from Fight Club. There we go.
Correct answer. You get 10 points. Your opponent scored 5. Here is your first audio clip.
I'm gonna make it an offer again with you.
Can you guess who this is?
This would be Tom Hanks. So there is a couple of things that went wrong here. The very first thing is you get 10 points. Your opponent scored 5. We need to have a space between that. This one should say, here's your audio clip. Oh, you know what? So the progress is starting from 0, right? So I think what we need to do here is this. Questions to be asked +1, plus 1. I think here's your first question. That's the second question, right? So Brad Pitt was your first question, and then this was the second question. So that is correct. Let's do Tom Hanks from, say, Fight Club. Okay, well, just giving the wrong answer to make sure that we get 5 points for this. And what happened? Why is this taking time? Yeah, there we go.
Correct answer. You get 5 points. Your opponent scored 10. Here is your second audio clip.
I'm gonna make him an offer he can't refuse.
So,
Can you guess who this is?
oh well, wow. That is really weird because at this point, what is happening is we are not getting the JSONs. There seems to be some issue with that, but we'll come circle back to this. So let's do a couple of things. Let's first fix your opponent scored 10 points. I think let's look at how we are going to be looking at these points table. So this is where it's coming in from. Your opponent scored 10. So let's fine-tune this response. You get 5 points. So where is that coming in from? Where is you get? So I think that's coming in from here, right? Oh, so this is coming in from here, right? From the language string. So you get 5 points. We put in a space here. Let's put in a space here, and actually let's here. Now this should be fine. Now let's do one thing, right? Let's just say Brad Pitt again. So this will get us into the wrong answer. So Brad Pitt should get us into the wrong answer workflow.
You answered none of them correct. You get 0 points. Your opponent scored 10. Here is your third audio clip.
I'm gonna make him an offer he can't refuse.
Right.
Can you guess who this is?
Okay. There looks to be some issue here, but the current question is still, I think there was some issue in the between, and that's why these session attributes did not get updated. But we'll get to that in a while. Now, okay, so you get 0 points. Your opponent scored 10 points. So I think what we need to do is let's try and. So here's what I'm thinking. So, and I would like to have your thoughts on this, folks, about how do we go ahead and build this. So there are two ways that we can tell them about their points. So at the end of each question, we could tell them how much points did they score for that specific question. So if they got like 0 points, or if they got 5 points, if they gave them 10 points, we'll tell them that, hey, you got 5 points, you got 10 points, or you got 0 points, right? And your opponent scored this many points, right? Now, here is how we kind of, so that is one way to do that. The next way to do that is say, hey, you scored 0 points, and that gives you, that makes you total at 20 points, and your opponent's total is 30 points. So that is one way to put it. So we kind of give the total. Now I'll discuss the pros and cons, but I would like to hear about how you would want to hear the scores. And I'll tell you my ideology behind this, right? So the very first thing is when you look at a quiz show, and the quiz master is keeping on asking them questions, they don't talk about the total points in a rapid fire round, right? So I kind of want to think of this as a rapid fire round, where the user they just say that, okay, hey, what is this question's answer? The user tells them the answer, and then they say something like, okay, 5 points to you, or 10 points to you, or 13 points, 15 points to you, right? So they just give them an update on how many points they scored for that specific question, right? They don't give them an update on their total points for that round. So that is one way to do that. And the idea that I had in mind was think of something as on the video, on the APL templates, maybe we could say that, hey, you scored 5 points for this question, but your total is 30 points, which is something that we could show on the APL template. But at least on the voice, I'm thinking I could just tell them how much they scored for this specific question. And I think I'm going to go with that approach. Jomo Code is here. Hey Joe, welcome to the stream. I am building an Alexa skill which tests you on your dialogue knowledge. So pretty much close to building the happy path. Thanks for joining us, Joe. But yes, I would like to hear everyone's thoughts on how you want Alexa to give us your point details. Let me know how what you think about this. So at this point, so let's actually capture all of this and move this to our language strings. So AuxinBox says if you don't hear the opponent score every question, it might cause distress from user on scoring. Right, I think that's a good idea. So I think it's and the reason why I need to tell them the users their opponent's score is kind of to have that competitiveness. I agree. Yeah, so kind of I want to build that competitiveness where the users, if they are trailing, they say that, okay, hey, I need to do better in the next question. Harsh says telling current question score and just tell you are leading your opponent or not. Right, so that's a good way to think about that as well, Harsh. Kind of thinking about saying that, hey, you scored 5 points and you are in the lead, and something like that. I think that's an interesting thing to do as well. Yeah, so I think what I'll do here is I'll kind of have these suggestions written somewhere, so that we do come back to this. But that's a good suggestion, Harsh. So let me just actually copy that, and maybe at some point we will get around to doing this. But that's a good suggestion. Let's come here. Let's go back to language strings. Let's do this. Telling current question. Oh, okay, wait, sorry. Let's come back. Control Z. Copy this. Come back here. Answer wrong. Okay. You answer none of them correct, you get 0 points, and then your opponent gets whatever points, right? Let's just put in a space in here. Right, so I think that ought to do it, and then we'll just say handler input dot t wrong answer, right? Is that okay? Answer underscore. That is what we are doing. Okay, now let's deploy the code. I think we've added spaces in here. This looks to be working fine. Let's see how this experience is going to work for us. Let's exit this, and last but not the least, delete the actions. Right, there we go. Let's reload. Yep, we've deployed. Let's try this out. So open the dialog quiz, and Marlon Brando from Godfather, because the first question is just a trial question.
Wahoo! That was easy, wasn't it? I am sure you are now ready to start your journey. Let me find a player for you to compete with. Your opponent is Oxygen Box. Here is your first audio clip.
I'm gonna make another African film.
Can you guess who this is?
So now that is Matthew McConaughey from Interstellar, and let's see what's happening now.
Correct answer. You get 10 points. Your opponent scored 10. Here is your second audio clip.
I'm gonna make another African film.
Can you guess who this is?
Okay, so a couple of things. So your answer, let's come in here. Your opponent's code, let's put in a Synchrophoto has a comment about that was easy, wasn't it? Does it sound more natural if you put a comma instead of a period for the text? That's a good suggestion, Synchrophoto. Let's actually try that out. Let's see. Let's go to the voice and tone editor. This is where we would test it out. Let's paste this. Let's hear this out. So this is the one with comma. Let's see how that sounds like. And I'm going to use the Indian locale because that's what we've been pacing against. But yeah, let's try this out.
That was easy, wasn't it?
Okay, and let's actually try a period here.
That was easy, wasn't it?
Right, I think there is certainly a bigger pause there. Yeah, so I think good catch there, Synchrophoto. Where did we have that string? Where is that was easy? Yeah. Let's actually make this. That was easy, wasn't it? Yeah, I think that should sort this issue out. These are like these small things that really matter in the voice context. Yeah, not sure which is better, but we internally have like and what we kind of always say to users is whatever Alexa says, it should be covered within one breath. And so the faster the response are, and by faster I don't mean kind of like speaking out fast, but rather getting to the point quicker. So I think it's okay kind of reducing the pause. I think that's a good call that we are making here. So Oxygen Box says when you get the same point as your opponent, it might flow better if you said something like opponent got X points too. In fact, you know what? I like that idea of Oxygen Box, and I think we could kind of change it to even say something like correct answer, both you and your opponent got 10 points. Do you think that is a better way to do that? Or we say something like you get 10 points, your opponent also gets 10 points. Should we kind of keep it as two different sentences, or we just say that both of you got 10 points? Yeah, that's something that we need to take a call on. But yeah, let me know what you think about that. Can you guess who this is? So now this is Tom Hanks from Godfather. So that would be, sorry, Tom Hanks from Forrest Gump. Sorry, I'm mixing the movies in here. But let's see. Tom Hanks from Forrest Gump. There we go.
Correct answer. You get 10 points. Your opponent scored 5. Here is your third audio clip.
I'm gonna make another African film.
Can you guess who this is?
So the current question is 10th question, and I'm wondering how we got Tom Hanks and Forrest Gump a couple of times. So if you look at our skill data, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Well, shouldn't that have been Anne Hathaway in Ocean 8 or Angelina Jolie? but actually I'm just going to answer this to see what's so I'm just going to say again Tom Hanks from Forrest Gump, but there's something wrong here.
Correct answer. You get 10 points. Your opponent scored 10. Here is your fourth audio clip.
I'm gonna make a non-African.
Right, so it looks like there is a problem here. What's happening is the correct actor and the correct movie are not getting updated, but the current question is getting updated and the progress is getting updated. So I think we need to go back to index.js and do something. Right, yeah, that's because we hard coded it, of course, right? That was why this was not working. So how do we do this now? I think we need to pass question to be asked in here. Yeah, I think we need to say question to be asked, right? Or is it actual question? I think it's going to be actual question. So this is something that we've just changed. We'll let the audio file be the same for the time being because we are going to use the no, I think we'll just actually put it an actual question. Ooh, I actually like that idea, Synchro Photo. Instead of saying you get 10 points, shorten it to 10 points. And so I think that's something that we can pick up for the next part of this. But what we could do is, let me actually take this. And I have an idea here. What we could do is we could actually use the AWS Poly Voice and have like a quiz master say something like 10 points, like, you know, with that excitement in their voice. So that could actually be a good idea. So let's see, what was that? Was that poly tag? There was a voice tag, right? So maybe in the voice tag, we could say, we could definitely do that. So let me actually write down that suggestion and we'll come back to this, but this is a good suggestion. Consider using a Quizmaster voice with excitement. Yes, right? So that's something that we can definitely do. Yep. But we are not going to get that into that right away. We are just going to make sure that our basic logic works at this point. One of the fun things, or rather one of the things that happens to me when I'm streaming, so I've got my laptop here and it's covering a certain part of my monitor, right? And sometimes I cannot see at least like a small part of my monitor. And instinctively, what I kind of also, when I'm kind of live streaming, I also think that you guys are not able to see that as well, which doesn't make any sense because I'm screen sharing. I'm not showing it to you from a camera. So every time I need to see what is on that left part of the monitor, I'm talking about the left part, Jomo code, not on the right part because there's the camera photo as well. The camera is there, but I kind of move like this to see what's on the left hand side, like the line number and all. I cannot see that, so I kind of move like this, and I kind of move my main laptop as well a slight bit, in the hopes that you would be able to see that. And then it clicks to me, you guys are seeing the screen share, you're not looking at the actual view that I have. But yes, that's something that keeps happening to me, and I keep moving the camera every now and then. So if you see my camera moving up and down, that is the reason why. Okay, so let's try this out again. Let's come back. Let's delete this user. And this time, we should be able to get different questions, right? And the dialogue quiz. Marlon Brando from Godfather. Brad Pitt from Fight Club. There we go.
Correct answer. You get 10 points.
So now what's happening is the current question is the third question. So that means this is the question that is being worked. They are actually on the second question, right? So the progress value is starting in from 0. So since this is the first question, this is the second question. So that's why we said here's your second audio clip. Now, once that happens, when we say here's your second audio clip, let's do this. Kevin Hart from Godfather. It would be a fun movie if Kevin Hart was in Godfather. But yes, let's try this out. If I say Kevin Hart from Godfather, it should give us 5 points for getting the actor right. Okay, I didn't press the enter. So at this point,
Opponent scored 10. Here is your third audio clip.
so
Economic African film.
Can you guess who this is?
So now you're seeing that Tom Hanks got upgraded. So this is like Tom Hanks from Forrest Gump. This is the fourth question. Harsh asks the second question, still why progress is 0. So let me show you this. I don't think that was the case. So this was your first question. So at the first question, progress was 0. Then this was your second question. The progress was 1. Then this was your third question, so where the progress was 2. So it starts from 0, so 2 is like the third element. I hope that answers your question. Right. Synchro Photo said remove here is your and do second audio clip. That's a good idea as well. Here's your third audio clip. Yeah, I think we could make that as second audio clip as well. And I think that's a small change to make. Let's actually make that right away. Let's remove here is your, yep, and where else do we have that? Yeah, we don't have it here. Here is your, yeah, I think, let's remove this. That is something that I do as well, Harsh. I actually sometimes, I don't know why I keep hitting Postman. I think I should just remove Postman. But I end up, in fact, let me actually move this to the far end so that it doesn't load up. But yeah, I do that a lot of times as well. I look into the JSON input rather than the output. But the JSON input will have the previous value, the output would have the latest one. But yes, we kind of just set up what Kirk just told us. That is basically first audio clip. It would just say second audio clip. It doesn't say here's your first audio clip. Here's your first audio clip, second audio clip. And I think we could kind of even rotate random. At some point, we will have some random responses, but now is not the time to do all those things. Anyways, so I think let's come back here. So at this point, we are, so we need to say Tom Hanks from Forrest Gump.
Correct answer. You get 10 points. Your opponent scored 10. Here is your fourth audio clip.
I'm gonna make an African film.
Can you guess who this is?
Now we are at the third question. Sorry, this is the fourth question. Sorry. So at this point, we'll just say anyone is fine. Marlon Brando from Godfather.
You answered none of them correct. You get 0 points. Your opponent scored 5. Here is your fifth audio clip.
I'm gonna make an African film.
So I should get an error here.
Sorry, I had trouble doing what you asked.
So what's happening
Please
is,
try again.
so what's happening is because the progress has hit 4, There are no more questions to be asked. This was the last question. So this was the last question was sorry, wait, what? I think I'm doing something wrong here. Sorry. Yeah, this one. Angelina Jolie from Godfather was the correct answer. But now, answered none of them correct. Your opponent scored 5 points. Right. Anyways, so what was happening here is because the progress is 4, at this point we need to stop and tell them that, hey, you won the round or you lost the round. So let's come back to readme.md and wrap up the happy path. I think at this point, we can say, oh cool, you bet the Lord of Sound at his own game. You scored 60 points from this entire game. Can you give me we try to capture their name, something like that. At this point, I know at some point we did think about a weekly leaderboard. I'm not going to kind of go for the weekly leaderboard thing. We'll keep the weekly leaderboard suggestion for the later part of this game. I really want to get the happy path moving somewhere. Yeah, I need to add a full stop there as well, Harsh. I'll just do that. Okay. Oh cool, you bet Lord of Sound as is. I think we need to also have like a win and a lose scenario. So let's actually come back here and let's see how we are able to handle that. In fact, I think what we can do here is let's go here and let's do else if session attributes dot progress. So what's going to happen is when the last question comes in, here's your 4th audio clip, which was Angelina Jolie. And then I say this. What was the 12th question? Let's look at the 12th question. I am confused a bit here. Okay, the 12th question was actually The Godfather by Marlon Brando. So let's actually remove this. Let's say The Matrix, and let's have Keanu Reeves in here. Okay, Keanu Reeves in here. Okay, now here the progress is going to be 4. So once the progress is 4 and they give the answer, we need to check if their last question was correct, and if their last question was correct, we don't ask them any more questions, but we tell them that, hey, this was your question and let's wrap it up. This is your score. So that's where we kind of want to set this up. So if this was 4, let's open this up and oh, in fact, I think what we could do is, I don't think we also need a if condition. Right. Okay, so I think here's what we can do. If session attributes dot progress is not equal to 4, only then proceed forward with the next question. Okay. Let's try this out. Let's see how this experience works. And maybe we can kind of get this in a better way, but we'll do the code optimization stuff later on, folks. At this point, I'm not too focused on the code optimization thing. If this code sucks, please let me know how we can make it better. I'm all ears for that. But yes. So now at this point, they've got the correct answer. And I think I need to add that in here as well, in the wrong answer as well. So we need to give the wrong answer, the entire stick. But what happens is, let's end the question, right? Speak output plus is equal to end round. Okay, end the round. Okay, this is what we'll do. We'll create a new function called as speak out end round. Let's see how that goes around. Okay, so now what we are going to do is, let's create a new function. Function end round session attributes, right? And I kind of feel that we'll just have the speech output, the current question. Your opponent scored how many points? So yeah, I think what we are going to do is, once the last question is asked to the user, we just tell them 10 points, your opponent scored whatever points. But then how do we handle this? So here's the readme.file. I'm telling you, this voice stuff, I think more than the coding stuff, what I find challenging, and rather something that as developers we should get really correct, is what does Alexa speak back, right? And I think half the game, or half half the game is entirely in what is Alexa responding and whether it sounds natural. Harsh says you have to put the if condition in all three, so it will be good to put if after the main if condition. After the main if condition, I'm not sure. You mean after this main if condition? I agree, Synchro Photo. I think it takes a lot of time to make sure that it sounds good. And I think one of the key things that we will be doing in this skill that I plan to do is I will be releasing a beta test of these skills, and I will be reaching out to all of you on the stream via Twitch or via personal IDs to ask for your email address, so you can also test out this skill and give me feedback on how we can improve this. Right, and what sounds natural in one voice may not in another voice. Now this is one of the reasons. Ashish Jha, who comes on this stream often, he built this really cool skill called as Learn Lingo. And what Learn Lingo does is it teaches you words in a new language every day. And when he built the skill, one of the suggestions, one of the inputs that he had was Polly might sound really good in one language, but when you try to test it out in a different locale, it might sound totally different. And that is why when you start using Polly, you have to make sure that it sounds natural to a native speaker in their locales. So that's like a whole lot of work. Right, and randomizing responses as well. So that is like one key thing that we are missing at this point. But I'm pretty sure as we go ahead, this is going to get more complex. So yeah, let's come back to the end round function. What do we want to do here is just let's look at these questions, right? So give it your best and gives the right answer. I did not think a lot about writing this answer, but I think right now, if you think about it, we could say something like 10 points or 5 points, 0 points, something like that. Right answer, wrong answer, you get 0 points. But now I don't tell how many points did the opponent get in the last round. I'm not going to tell them that. Okay, what I'm going to do that is your total score is 40 points or 50 points, X points, tell them their entire total score, and then let me think about it. Let's fine tune it. I'm just writing this down here, but we will need to fine tune it. Your opponent, and we'll use the opponent's name for sure. So your opponent scored 40 points, and then maybe an audio clip. Depends on whether they won or whether they lost, and we'll say congratulations, you won this game, right? So that is something that I need to do. So I'm just going to do this at this point, but I know this is not the best use case, so I'm leaning on you folks to suggest me what you think could be the best way to put this up. But yes, we can totally work out on this, but let me first start writing logic for this, and then we'll go from there. So now let's speech output, current question. I don't think we need all these things. Let speech output is equal to empty string. What's the current question? I don't think we need this. We don't need the output scored as well. I am looking for, where am I scoring? Where am I saving the scores? I forgot where I am saving the scores. Yeah, I think the scoring is happening here, so I don't think I need to worry about the scoring. Yeah, so I think at this point what I need to do is just get the score and speak it out. Right? Say something like speech output, but would really like to hear your folks, your input on how do you think we should tackle this. You scored, let's do this. You scored dollar session attributes dot user score, right? You scored, yeah, I think I could say something like your total score is X points. Your opponent, and right, your opponent scored, and I think I can kind of save this in, I'm not sure. Your opponent scored, let's actually come to this point. We will come to this point, but I'll say session attributes dot opponent total. Your opponent scored these many points. Roori says, are you winning? I don't think I'm winning on this one. Viru, this I think it's going to be a tie here. But out here, your total score is this. Your opponent scored these many points. If, and I think this is where we kind of do this, where session attributes dot user score is greater than session attributes dot opponent total, and we don't have the opponent total at this point, so I think we will come to that point, we'll address that point. But if that was the case, speech output plus is equal to you win the game, right? Else speech output plus is equal to you lose the game. I like that suggestion, Oxygen Box. One idea is to give the opponent score first and then your score and build some suspense. Yes, I think I'll just add that as well as a suggestion. Keep those suggestions coming. At some point we will definitely include all of those things in here. I can't commit to when, but I think we'll definitely look at doing these things in here. So you win the game, you lose the game. I somehow feel we haven't addressed what happens if there's a tiebreaker, right? What happens if there is a tiebreaker? And I'm kind of so there are two things that we can do if there's a tiebreaker. If there's a tiebreaker, ask them questions till the tie breaks, right? But the problem is that it's just going to, what happens if a user comes to the skill for the first time and they end up in a tiebreaker and they have to keep on giving answers till the tie breaks, right? So I kind of like want to have the happy path, and we could just say something like, okay, this game is tied, both of you get these many points, that's it. That's the kind of thing that I want to do, but happy to take some suggestions on this. So else if session attributes dot user score equal to session attributes dot opponent total game tied. Oh folks, I'm actually else speech output plus is equal to you lost the game. Okay, so I think this seems like a good place to continue this. Okay, so let's just save this. So you win the game tied, you lost the game. We've covered that scenario. I'm just thinking of something here. Okay, let me actually come back to our database.js file, and here in database.js I want to kind of have the opponent total value and say opponent dot so where is the game? So let's actually come back to this, right? Let's come back here to DynamoDB AWS. Let's open this. Let's open this game 1 questions. So this game 1, so I think we should kind of look at text score, sorry, opponent total, no, not opponent total, let's just call this as a score, and score will be 5 plus 10, 20, 25, 30, 40. So this was 40, this should be 40, and this score should be 30, 40 again, right? Am I doing something wrong here? No, it doesn't look like that. Let's do that for this one game in here as well. Tweet text and score, right? Score is 35, 40. Well, all of them are at 40 points, right? So now that we have all of the scores, so what I'm going to do here is opponent total is going to be, well, what was opponent game here doing, right? Game 1, games of game, martial opponent games. Okay, so now it's been I think we did this a couple of weeks back, so I don't remember what is going to happen here. So this is going to get us games of game 1, game 2, game 3, right? So that means if I did game opponent game dot, what do you call this, score, will this work? I think it will, but let's figure that out. Not too worried about that at this point. And then what I'm planning to do here is, at this some point we did ask the user for that, right? Where did we, I think we call the API somewhere here, or I think it was in the fetch opponent, right? So in the fetch opponent we were getting all of those data and we were saving it to session attributes, right? Or was it in the session attributes? Yeah, it was in session attributes. So session attributes dot opponent total is equal to data dot, oh, you know what, I don't think we need that at all. I think we could just do data dot game dot score. Let's do it here itself. Yeah, I don't think we need that. So I think this looks good. Let's see if this works. I hope this works. So pretty much at the end of today's stream, so let's see if this works. If it doesn't, we'll pick it up for another day. But I'm so glad that we got like 1.5 hours to stream, and I think I might stick to this schedule for a while. Let's exit. Did we deploy? Okay, perfect. Open the dialog quiz. Marlon Brando from Godfather.
Wahoo! That was easy, wasn't it? I am sure you are now ready to start your journey. Let me find a player for you to compete with. Your opponent is Karthik. First audio clip.
I'm gonna make an African.
Can you guess who this is?
So now you can see that the opponent total did come into the session attribute, so we don't need to worry about capturing that or calculating all of those things. The answer is Brad Pitt from Fight Club. We also want to check if at the end of this session we can.
Correct answer. You get 10 points. Your opponent scored 5-second audio clip.
I'm gonna make an African.
So
Can
Kevin.
you guess who this is?
So this is Kevin Hart from Jumanji, but I spelled it wrong. So we.
Correct answer. You get 5 points. Your opponent scored 10th third audio clip.
I'm gonna make an African.
Can you guess who this is?
So this would be Tom Hanks. So I think there's a kind of an issue there with this thing. Your opponent scored 10 and then it says third audio clip, didn't put a full stop there. So this kind of things happen. But let's overlook that.
Correct answer. You get 10 points. Your opponent scored 10th fourth audio clip.
I'm gonna make an African.
Can you guess who this is?
The Rock from Jumanji.
Correct answer. You get 10 points. Your opponent scored 5 fifth audio clip.
I'm gonna make an African.
So
Can you guess who this is?
So that is Reese Witherspoon from Legally Blonde.
Correct answer. You get 10 points. Undefined.
There we go. So, couple of things. So we got undefined. So let's see what's happening there. So it says correct answer. Where did that go? Correct answer. So I think the correct answer was supposed to come in from here, right? So the correct answer. Wait, something seems to be wrong here. So did we actually come in here? Nope. I think so. When I said you get 10 points, okay, so the 10 points did work. What is undefined? Your total score is session attributes.score. So let's look at this. Do we have user score? Yes, we do. Do we have opponent total? Yes, we do. Right. You get 10 points, but it was supposed to land in. Did it land in here? I should have put in a log earlier here, folks. But yeah, I think it will come in here, and that's something that we need to figure out. I would love to stream a bit more, but I think it's wrapping up time for me. But yes, I think we are pretty close to kind of getting this working. But yes, we are almost close to getting our happy path worked. Wow, that I think has been what 7, 8. This was like the ninth. This was like the 9th or the 10th stream. So that's like taken 3, 6, 9, 3 weeks already. But yes, thank you so much for joining me, folks. We'll be doing more of these streams, and we are pretty much thanks for joining in for this entire journey of building the skill. I do plan to publish this. Oh yes, that's a good thing that you captured, Harsh. I think I will be able to sleep peacefully tonight. Thanks for figuring that out. We did not call the return function, so I think that should solve. But almost a bit late here, so I'm not going to spend some time testing this out because I know there's something breaking here for sure. So wrapping it up for today. Oxygen Box says collecting audio clips seems like it will be time consuming. Do you know of any way to automate that process? Let me think about it. There are a couple of APIs. In which I can actually call. I think YouTube DL has this API. So I'm pretty much sure I could write a script which could call these different dialogues. But I kind of was thinking about this a bit, and you guys can, if you can humor me a bit for a while. What I had in mind was, even if I could get like 30 or 40 clips, right? Maybe it won't take me a lot of time to get 30 or 40 clips, right? Maybe at the max it would take me an hour or two, which I'm willing to put in. Let's say even if I get 40 audio clips, but then I added so many players in start. I added so many players in the start with a dummy random number generator, so that there's enough combination of playing with a different player and playing different audio clip. So I'm still a bit loose on that logic. I think we should be able to figure that out as soon as possible. But yes, let's see. At this point, I have not yet decided logic. Hey Justin, thanks for joining, but I'm almost about to wrap up the stream. But yes, thanks everyone for joining in. The skill is at this point really coming along well, and we upgraded the stream setup today. So for people who are still who are curious about what changed in the streams today, we've got a new device cam that shows the device, and then we've got some face lights. You can just look at this. We got some face lights here, and yeah, that's what has changed today in our stream setup. But yes, time for me to wrap up for today, folks. Thanks for joining. As usual, appreciate this. Like I said, I do have in mind to cover some Indian developers who have built some really good Alexa skills. So maybe I'll do that in the upcoming weeks, just figuring out how to get working out the logistics. But do stay tuned to my Twitch channel so that I can notify you when I go live with other content creators. But hey, thanks everyone for joining in. That's it for me from today, and stay safe, stay healthy, folks, and I'll see you on Friday. Bye bye.